I got to thinking about it, I'm going to go make a drive somewhere. Because I think some people really forgot who they are and where they came from. And, you know, nobody, you know, if you came from poor beginnings, you know, you don't necessarily want to go back to that. But to hate people who are stuck in that just shows what kind of person you are. And where these people began, it wasn't necessarily poor beginnings. It was just, it wasn't necessarily good either, but yeah. I can't, they started out at the same fucking level of life basically as my family did. Or myself, I should say, because my mom's side of the family is definitely fucked up. My dad's side hasn't been too bad, but they were mostly pretty much just a bunch of fucking drunks. Generally fairly good people. My grandma, we used to call it, well, not we, but, well, my mom and my cousins and my aunts and all, they call her a bulldog at times. Because my grandma was small, but she didn't take shit. Wonder where I got that from. It didn't matter if she was at risk of getting her own butt kicked or not. She wasn't afraid to say what she needed to say. But I'm going to stop this here, and I'll continue this here in a little bit. Okay? So, yeah. I'll be right back. For you guys, it'll be in a moment. But for me, it'll be probably another 5-10 minutes. Yeah, I'm back. Right up here on the right is where it all began for them. This is back when the family actually could accept me for me. See, they added on to it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut this for a second, and I'll flip back around and go back the other way. Sorry, I had someone following me a little bit there, and it was making it hard for me to turn around. So I had to drive up a little ways. But if that person is watching this, they'll recognize this shit. So what hurts the most is this person, when I fell in love with them, and when we first met, money wasn't, and I know we were teenagers then. But we understood even then that money, that love didn't have a price on it. And we also understood that a relationship doesn't work if all you do is worry about somebody else. When you leave your other half alone all the time at home, waiting for you. Waiting for you to decide when the relationship is important because you're prioritizing other people. It makes it really hard for a relationship to work. And if you want that other person to put more effort into that relationship, you've got to start doing the same thing. Remember two sides of the road? My happiest days outside of getting to raise my younger son and then getting to be a part of my older son's life too when he was allowed to come back around. My greatest memories was when I was in high school. Not with my ex-wife. None of that. And I've been tired of that being held over my fucking head. I didn't meet her until after my current ex had already gone through a friend of mine and my cousin. So to be holding those types of grudges and angers towards me, it's unnecessary and it's wrong. That's saying that they had right to dictate my life and relationships the entire time. This is where everything began for us. And I love this woman. If I didn't, I wouldn't know where she lived when we first met. Trees are all gone. They added on to the house, obviously. Here's the little ride that she would take to go to school in the mornings, and then after a while, when they moved into Oregon City, her mom would drop her off at my house. And this is, when she was pregnant and all that stuff. And my mom would take us to school, and then after a while, I was getting to be a dumbass in high school, and got my ass kicked out for skipping too much. I had the hardest time in high school too, because that was the time in my life I realized I didn't fit in anywhere, and the only people who made me feel like I was normal and fit in was people like my friends Jess and Nate and Melissa. So I mean, I think people need to ask themselves, especially that person, how do you think somebody who's loved you that long is going to feel, and how is it going to affect them when you make them feel like they don't matter? While they sit and wait for you day in and day out, and all that they're good for is to pay the bills and cook you dinner. It's not fair. And everything was great until I was taking jobs that were paying a little bit less because we needed bills paid, and then it went to shit after I ended up disabled, and it's never ended. And we talk about unhealthy and toxic when every fight we've had has been because of you obsessing over someone else. I know that you've gone through my phone at different times, and she has, and it's created fights. But as I've said in a video that's currently still uploading, is I do know my boundaries. Sometimes I will be nice to somebody, even when I know I probably shouldn't be. But I don't cross certain boundaries because I will not. No. A lot of times, I try to ignore people. I might have a short, hey, like I've said in that one, how's it going, whatever, short conversation, yeah, miss you, that type of thing, because I miss my friends. But I also know that some of my friendships also made her uncomfortable, so that's why I didn't pursue keeping those friendships. I was trying to respect my own relationship because my relationship came first. Even now, with all that's gone on, I'm not out trying to be with someone else. I'm not out trying to get somebody else's attention, and I'm not trying to give my attention to anybody else. I'm actually trying to heal from this. Because as much as I've been accused and made out a fucking monster, I'm not the person that they keep trying to claim I am. I shouldn't have to be with somebody where if I talk to someone or speak at a certain tone to be heard or anything like that and have the excuse that it's a trigger on the PTSD. It means I could never talk to you and I could never really confide in you or anything like that out of fear that it's just going to cause you to get upset, get angry, get offended, get defensive, walk away, stonewall the situation, and nothing ever gets solved. I should have learned a long time ago that I should have learned even before we got the house that this wasn't going to work, because whatever prejudice that you have towards people who are disabled and are collecting from Social Security disability, which they would have to actually work and earn, not just do nothing to earn it. I don't get SSI, and you working with a place that deals with this, you know the difference. I would have been more apt to go back to work and all that, and actually try to work and actually push myself through even my anxieties if I had known that I had somebody at home that actually supported me. And I'm not talking financially, because that wasn't the issue. It's I needed somebody there. I missed my fiance. I missed her company, and even when she was there, she was still too busy putting her attention elsewhere to somebody else. Whether it was friends or a fling. And the reason why I made a comment at one time that I deserved better is because I didn't deserve to be alienated like it was and being demonized. Being fucking treated like shit like that. Expected to fucking do all this shit for somebody who has actually been cheating on me on a regular basis since getting that home. They'd cheat, come back. Cheat, come back. Cheat, come back. Until they destroyed who they are as a person, and they destroyed me. For what? Because you forgot where you came from. Your mom forgot where she came from. You guys have an obvious hatred towards people who are disabled and don't have the ability to do what everybody else can. I'm sorry. If I would rather have a chance, I would have rather have had the chance to walk down the aisle with her than have to be wheeled down the aisle. It's just like walking. I would rather walk in the park with my grandchild than have to be pushed through the park with my grandchild. Trying to force somebody to work until they're crippled is the most fucked up thing a person can do. That's no different than forcing a horse till it goes lame and then just go put it down. I'm not a fucking horse. I never forgot where you came from, and I never forgot where I came from. I never forgot the strawberry shortcake wallpaper. I never forgot the wandering around all over the tree farm, or your mom buying me cigarettes from Lone Elder's store. I haven't forgot any of that. I didn't forget who the first person was that I went to when my mom was abusing me after we had separated, and I went straight to you late that one night because my mom was pulling her shit, and I went and slept on the floor between your bed and the wall. The same shit that I was starting to deal with you. I didn't forget. I watched a family that I loved very much, even though I made some stupid ass mistakes when we were younger. And yeah, I should not have walked away thinking that we could co-parent as friends where our child was concerned. I was very stupid and naive child to even be doing to have done that. I should have stuck by, and I know this. I even have the conflict though that if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had Christian, and you wouldn't have had your other two that you love so much. So there's that conflict that even out of bad, there was still some good that came out of it. It's just we can't change what was done. And the only thing that can be fucking changed is the constant fucking hate, the constant shit talking, the constant lying, the constant demonization, and forgetting where we began. I didn't forget. I didn't fall in love with you because of of what kind of money or job your mom had, because she didn't have it then. I didn't fall in love with you because you had nice things or because you had this big home. You didn't have it then. I didn't fall in love with you for materialistic bullshit reasons. I didn't fall in love with you over anything like that. I fell in love with Melissa because of who she was. And yeah, I admit, she was the first one that, at the moment I laid eyes on her, I fell in love with her. I had the absolute biggest crush, and I didn't know how to speak to her. And looking back, and now knowing that I've been autistic this whole time, I now know why that I was more strange about how I communicated things. No, while she has spent her time demonizing me, talking shit, destroying all my friendships and relationships, I've been sitting around waiting for her and hoping that at some point she'd finally realize that she had somebody at home that loved her very fucking much and was sacrificing every fucking moment of pretty much their time waiting for her to be there. Because at any time during all that, I could have chose to leave. Could have chose to do what she's doing. Then again, she'd just call me a piece of shit for leaving then. Because no matter what, it would be my fault. Yes, I know she's a narcissist, but a lot of those traits, she didn't have those when we were kids, and at least I don't think so. But she's got to realize she made some extremely fucked up choices herself as a parent. And instead of making me taking the fall for him, she's got to fucking take responsibility too for her shit too. Because the healing, making amends, all that shit does not happen until all people, as many people involved at least, fucking have the backbone to step up and say, hey, yes, I was wrong. This was wrong. This being said was wrong. That type of shit. I already know I shouldn't have walked away, and it's one of the biggest regrets I had. And have always had. There's not a fucking thing I can do to change it. And all I've ever tried to do is try to at least change the direction of it. But that got all done. I don't really have an interest. You know what? Yeah, no. I don't really have an interest in being with anybody else. I never really did. There were moments there and all that where I would talk to other people and all that stuff, but I wouldn't even allow it to go into to that part. It was just having someone to talk to. And most of the time I didn't even talk on the phone. Because I don't like talking on phones. But I know on occasions I'd get messages at different times and I'd see them and just delete them because it's like, no, I'm not responding to that. It's like my sister Danielle. I miss that girl a lot. Love her a lot. I talk to her every now and then and all that. Via text. I think we talked a couple times on the phone, but she's in Georgia. And that's my sister. I'm one of those people, I genuinely, when I call you my sister or my brother, that type of thing, that's what you are. When I'm with somebody, I don't go out and fuck around. I don't go looking for somebody to fuck around with. I do everything I can to try and make that relationship work until it doesn't work anymore. I don't give up until basically they leave. Because you know why? I learned from the mistake of leaving Melissa back then when we were teens. My very first person and the only person I ever broke up with on my own was Melissa. My biggest fucking regret. That's why I never walked away from a relationship and I never fucking ended it. I stayed to it and stuck to it until they ended it. And like with her and even my wife, I genuinely love them. And when it comes to Melissa, yeah, I kept hoping that I could finally put a fucking ring on it, but I can't put a ring on something that is too busy fucking obsessing over other people. I don't think any woman would marry a man who's too busy focusing on someone else.